everybody. Welcome to The Reg. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Tabitha.
This is a time for real talk for real couples. We've had a little trouble trying to get online, some technical difficulties, but we are here. We are here to answer your questions. Whatever questions you may have with regards to your relationship, we want to provide you with the help and the support necessary in order for it to happen for you. So as my wife is online checking to make sure everything is working, we want you to get your questions ready. You can put those questions in the comment field, right down underneath, put those in the comment field. If not there, then what you can do, you can go to our email. We're on. Good. We are. Okay, let me see. Is there a comment place for comments down there?
There's a place for
Okay,
comments.
right where the comments are down at the bottom, you can put in your comments or your questions and we will answer them online. We're going to be here for 30 minutes, or you can email us and we will discuss it there. Go to thereg, THEREG, at nolangwhite.org. The Reg at nolangwhite.org. So you got a couple of ways to get the questions to us. We've gotten some questions in advance. They are some good questions. So we're excited about being able to connect. Come on. If you have a question, let's hear what you got to say. Let's hear what the questions are, and let's have a marvelous time with what we are doing today. All right. So what's the first question you got?
I want to know if they can hear us.
Can you hear us? Yes, they can hear us because they got closed caption. That's how you know they can hear us. Nevertheless.
At least we know they can read it.
Right, exactly. So, what questions we got?
I have a question from, they didn't request to be anonymous, so I won't.
Oh, boy.
I won't do that. But the first question is, give me 1 second here. It says, how do you stay content and wait on God for a Mr. or Mrs. Right? How do you stay content while you wait?
I understand what you mean about being content. Let me give you this word of encouragement. I'll say this. Oh, you go ahead, give your thought.
You got yours on the tip of your tongue. Go
No,
ahead.
he's out there. He just can't find you. He's out there. He just can't find you. Now, that doesn't mean go in the bar and the clubs and all of that to try and find him, because if he's there, that might not be the kind of person that you want. But you've got to understand, you've got to be in the way. You've got to get out. You have to go. Now, I understand with the COVID virus that's going on, it's kind of hard to get out. But it can't get out. But social media provides you with an opportunity. And of course, when you're dealing with social media, got to be careful. What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts are, one of the things that I used to say is, you don't go looking for someone, and I know the question is, how do you be content? That contentment has to start with you, you being content with yourself and making sure that you're ready. One of my prayers were, while I was waiting, was, Lord, make me ready. I want to be ready. I want to be a wife. I want to become the woman that I need to be be a wife.
Right.
And so I had a lot of things that I needed to work on Tabitha. So that kind of kept my time occupied, which is really important while you're single and you're in that posture of waiting, to keep your time occupied with positive things about yourself. Positive things. You can work in a community. You can, work in your church, at your school. Just find yourself being busy doing good things, and don't stay focused on the wait. Like a lot of times we're waiting. You often tease me about being patient and waiting.
Oh yeah, it's two different things.
So
to wait is just waiting. To be patient is the proper attitude while you're waiting. I like her answer. I love that answer. Be busy and know that that person is out there. You ask God for that. Ask God for that person to find you, but at the same time, work on yourself. Look at yourself and be honest. What did I do the last time that may have been adversely Okay, that's all right. Mommy's over there with
Yeah,
us.
we have a live studio audience here.
But yeah, I mean, work on yourself, feel good about yourself, be honest with yourself, and I think and in time, when the time is right, God will send you the one you're looking for. Is there another question?
Yes. Another question was, what do you do when you're in a relationship with someone and you always tell them that you love them, but they don't tell you that they love you? However, their actions show.
Okay.
They show you feel love from them. They just never say it.
Gotcha. All right. So there are all kinds of answers that could come out of that, from the fact that the person is not an emotional kind of person. They're not the touchy-feely. Now they'll be intimate in a moment, but as far as sharing those personal, expressive thoughts, that may not be that kind of person.
Yeah.
And so you got to ask yourself, am I interested in being in a long-term relationship with someone who does not want to express themselves on that level? Now, you're getting some kind of vibe, some understanding that says this person loves me. And so that's got to be appreciated. That you got to value that. But is it a big deal that those words aren't being said? And you got to understand further, it could be something in their past. Maybe they've been wounded, they've been hurt. Maybe they were in a bad relationship before. Maybe they were not raised in a home where there were a lot of loving expression, verbal expressions. Stuff was, there used to be a time where the man felt as though I brought the bacon home, I paid the rent, I take care of the car, so I don't need to say it. A lot of people feel that way. And you got to ask yourself, is that a deal breaker?
Women are more, from a woman's standpoint, women like to hear. They're more verbal creatures, and so they want to hear "I love you." And so I can attest to a saying a wise man once said. Bishop James Elliott said, "If you love me, show me."
Gotcha.
Yeah, don't just tell me with your mouth that you love me. Show me that you love me. And so I am, I'm probably one of those women that I want you to show me you love me. You're telling me you love me, yep, that's nice, but show me. And so we can't change people. That has always been my precursor. I can't change you. I can't make you do what I want you to do. All I can do is demonstrate to you what I would like. And if you don't do that, then I have to come to the understanding, is it important enough for it to become an issue?
That's it right there.
Or do I just accept the love that you're showing?
Exactly.
And move on.
And that becomes relative to every individual.
Yeah.
Relative to every individual.
Do you love me?
With all my heart, I love you.
Say it again.
I love you.
Say it like you mean.
I love you. She needs help. I'll pray for her. Did you get another question?
I have another question.
All right.
After you've asked God for forgiveness, why does it seem like God is not hearing you?
Because you haven't forgiven yourself. Next question. No, I mean.
Well, and it's also a timing thing. God's time is not our time. It's we feel like, okay, God, I've asked for forgiveness. I'm ready to move on. But like you say, you haven't forgiven yourself. Are you really ready to move on? Are you really there?
But understand this. Here's what I believe. I believe forgiveness is like a wardrobe in the closet. Once you go get it, put it on, it's yours. You have it. It's not a case. It's not a case that God's holding back on forgiveness. Forgiveness is yours right now.
Right.
It's a matter of believing that it's already done. Now, if you're talking about forgiveness within the context of a relationship, that's a different ball game. Say you messed up, whatever level of mess up, because mess up does not necessarily mean affair. Mess up can be you spent money that was
knucklehead.
Okay, that goes no way.
Knucklehead.
But that could be, you messed up with the money. You messed up as it relates to your baby's mama or whatever. That could stay out the pocket. So, I mean, it can mean, but what you have to remember is, if you're looking for somebody to forgive you just like that, the reason why you're in that situation is because, one, you did something that hurt them. So two, you have to understand they need time to heal. It's not about God forgiving you. In the situation where you're talking about God forgiving you, you have to forgive yourself and move on. That's the big thing. But
I think that's the bigger thing.
Yeah,
if you have to forgive yourself.
If you messed up as far as a relationship is concerned, then it's a matter of you got to allow time for your significant other to recover from that. You heard me.
Do you have a question like that?
Yeah, I got a question that came. Somebody is guilty of some indiscretion. They have 3 teenage children. Should they get a divorce?
Are you looking at?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, divorce is not the first resort. With marriage, divorce is not the first option. The first option is to get help. That is very, very, very important that you get some professional counseling, family counseling, especially if there's 3 teenage children involved, because those children, they know what's going on. They see whether or not they know about the indiscretions. They know that there's tension between mom and dad, and they can see that. And one thing, let me just put a sticker right here. It is not the responsibility of the children. Children should not have to bear the burdens of their parents' indiscretions or their parents' problems. So as much as you can, please do whatever it takes to keep the children out of it.
Yeah.
It's not fair to them.
You cannot, one parent take the children and leverage the children against the other. That's not right. That's not fair. Yeah. But at the same time, what you have to do, the big thing is get some help. And you got to ask yourself, as you go through the process of counseling and things of that nature, can you forgive? Can you let it go? Yeah. A lot of times people they don't realize how much of a challenge it is to forgive. God calls us to forgive, but sometimes we need help. Even the disciples said, how many times we need to forgive? And they said 7 times. Jesus like, no, 7 times 70. Then they said, Lord, increase our faith.
So you have to ask faith in your relationship.
Yeah, exactly. You got to ask. And then worst case scenario, if you realize that you cannot forgive, and you can't be bullheaded. You cannot be bullheaded.
Be honest with yourself.
You got to be honest with yourself. If you can't forgive, then you got to come up with something amicable and not confrontational and contentious, which is a different discussion altogether, because that's another can of worms.
Yeah, but it is extremely important that if you say that you forgive, then you move on from that. If you find yourself in a place where you're continually resorting back to that, or you continually, keep seeing that and feeling that, and you're rehearsing that, and you thinking in your mind what it might have been like and who it might have been, and if you're going through all of that, then really, really, really consider first getting some help,
counseling,
so that you can heal from this and not punish the other person continually, because a mistake is a mistake. It happens. Move on.
Exactly. All right. Did you get another question?
I don't know.
No questions come up. If you got questions, go ahead, type them in the comment field. We're getting those. Type them in the comment field, and we will get them answered. What you got now?
So I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
It says, how do you view a husband's or a wife's role in a marriage? So
how do I view?
What's your role? What's my role?
I think that's.
Let me tell you what your role is.
That's determined.
And then let me tell you what my role is.
I think that is determined based upon how you roll through that relationship. It becomes how you roll. You got to be real careful when you start talking about roles and all of that. Now we understand what the scriptures say, and we won't. We'll be careful there. But at the same time,
what the scriptures say.
The Bible says that now, since you want to play that card, the Bible says that God is the head of Christ.
That's right.
Christ is the head of man.
Oh, boy, here we
and the
go.
man is the head of the woman. Now, that's what the
As
Bible
long as
says.
Christ is your head.
But see, that's just it. And here's the rationale with that, since we're out here. Here's the rationale with that. The fact is, God poured into Christ. Christ is the one that must pour into the man.
Right.
So that the man can pour into the wife.
Right.
If the man doesn't have Christ pouring into him,
Hey.
what does he have?
What you pouring in?
Every day, every day, every day.
I'm sorry.
So you got and understand Christ pouring in. That's not preaching to your spouse.
Right.
That's not what that is.
Yeah.
That is the love and the care that is
demonstration
necessary.
of love.
The demonstration of love. That's far beyond talk. Or if the talk has to be strategic. More importantly, one has to be attentive to what God is saying to you with regards to you talking your spouse.
Okay.
There are some things that God can give me in regards to my spouse that will enhance her. I'm to cover her. I'm to protect her. But at the same time, there's a responsibility she has in covering me.
And so is that my role?
That's a role, responsibility. I mean, again, what you don't want to do is get into, you're not my boss, I'm the boss. That will never work. That's pride.
Let me just say this.
Go ahead,
ladies.
say it.
I know a lot of ladies have problems with, with this whole camera thing. I know a lot of women have problems with submission and the husband leading and all of that, and you feel like it weakens you and it takes your power away from you. And in my opinion and from my experience, it does not weaken or it doesn't take your power away from you. It strengthens your relationship to keep the husband as the head of the household as long as Christ is his head. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And that's fine. But here's the thing in regards to that. Here's the piece about that. Because you have some husbands that are dominating or domineering and controlling and demeaning.
Okay. Well, sometimes you can be controlling.
I'm not
Come
controlling.
on.
I'm not controlling.
Sometimes Nolan can be controlling, and sometimes Nolan can micromanage.
When we have
Nolan can micromanage. However,
not to the degree that my dearly beloved.
It's not insulting. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't make me feel less. It doesn't make me feel like I'm doing something wrong. I just know that that's the type of person he is, and that's who I married. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not trying to change him. He's a grown man. He's over 50, so I really can't change somebody that's over 50. And I don't want to change him. I love everything about him. And so when he starts to hover, when I'm in the kitchen, when I'm doing my role in the kitchen,
I just want to be present while she's cooking.
And he just comes and hovers, and he's standing and he's watching, and I just look at it like he just want to be around me.
That's all.
And he being nosy.
That's all. No, I'm not being nosy.
And so, to the question, to me, there are no roles, so to speak. My thought is his role is to protect me, and my part is to love him. And
there are no roles, but there's some roles. Okay.
I got another question. We got a question.
We got a question. Okay, what's the question?
Okay, what's the question? Read
the
question. Read.
Do you feel like the church focused more on women being prepared for marriage more than men?
Yep.
I don't.
You got quiet.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
It does, and the reason why it comes across like that. Number one, there's more women in the churches
Okay.
than there are men.
All right.
And those women are raising single daughters, and they're single mothers raising daughters. And so they're putting into those daughters what they have learned, what they believe. And so they want their daughters to be prepared for marriage. It's important. I'm going to tell you ladies something. And in all honesty, it is a responsibility of the woman to keep that household together. And if you don't learn that from the beginning, then yeah, it's hard. And keeping that household together starts with us. We have to be together. And so it goes back to the beginning when I said, you know, Lord, make me what I need to be a good wife, to be a good mate. And so, yes, the church does focus more on the women being prepared than it does the men, because women are responsible for keeping that household, the nucleus of the household together.
And I think to a point that you made in that, there are more women in the church.
Yeah.
And so, but at the same time, the men that are there need to be taught how to be husbands, how to be men. Right. Because, you know, I'm not a man or a husband, rather, simply because I'm a man. To be a husband is a different ballgame. The caring and the provider, and provider doesn't mean you make more money, but it does mean you go to work. We trace that all the way back to Adam. And so, emphasis is placed more so on women at church for a number of reasons, but that does not mean men don't need training and they don't need coaching.
And maybe that is a whole nother conversation that I can have in the private group with the women about, you know, why that happens like that. Why does that seem to be more of a focus?
And we can do that with the men as well. We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that in a separate group, and we can have those conversations as to what do I need to do to be the kind of husband that pleases God and enhances my relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We got another one, or is that it? Okay. Come on. What you got?
I got. Do you find it difficult to admit you are wrong?
It depends on the situation.
At least you told the truth.
Well, I mean, the thing is, especially from a male perspective, here we go with...
As you square your shoulders.
Here's the thing. When I'm working at it and I'm trying to make this work and I'm putting time, I'll give you a classic example. So all morning into the afternoon, I'm using this software. I'm not going to call any names, trying to get it all set up, have the bells and whistles so we can stream live. And so right when it's time, and now I tested it with recording to my computer. So I'm thinking we're good. We're ready to go. Sit down, hit this button, hit that button, hit that button. We are great. And go live and nothing happens. So, you know, I put in a lot of time and, you know, and so, yeah, I didn't want to be told I was wrong, but it wasn't working. Guess what? We had to switch to a different program, and thus we are online now. So, yeah, when a person, I don't think it's just a man thing.
No,
I think
that can be
when you put
too.
time into something and that thing doesn't work, you're trying, I don't want to let this go. I don't want to look stupid. But, I mean, at some point, you got to raise the white flag and say,
hey, something not right
something
here.
not right. Your way is better.
And it's okay. And ladies, it's important when he's going through that, because come on, ladies, let's face it. It usually happens to them more than it happens to us, because we usually have our stuff together. But at any rate, while he's going through that, you just sit there and you don't say, see, I told you so.
Right.
See, look at you. Now you done made a mess. You don't say that. All you say is, it's okay, baby. It's okay.
See?
It's okay. And, you know, you get the victory both ways, because you're encouraging him.
Wow.
He's getting it fixed. He's getting it right. And you're not causing any tension in your relationship. It's those little foxes that can just destroy everything. And so while he's sitting here and he's sweating, full blown sweating, and I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, let me look on the phone. Let me pull up the app on the phone and make sure it's working, baby. It's okay. because I support him. And even when he makes mistakes, and quite often they happen, even when even when that happens, I love him regardless.
And so what was critical there within the context of this question and the others as well is respect. It is,
Yes, absolutely.
she's not throwing me under the bus. Now, she might throw in a little one-liner,
Yeah,
as you have seen.
Just a little dig.
Two-liners,
Just a little dig.
but she does not demean me. She does not make me feel less than a man. She knows my threshold, because some stuff can set some people off, and for me,
That threshold can be
not-
tricky.
but that's all right. Pay attention. Pay attention. If you see me working out in a sweat, that threshold has shifted.
Right,
But
right.
that
And back down. Just
Right.
back down
And it's
from it.
important because too often arguments ensue needlessly because somebody wants to prove that they're right or whatever. But what you see in all of this, there's a way to navigate
Right.
in your relationships. All you got to do is prove that you love one another, you respect one another, you're not trying to attack one another or bring one another down.
Exactly. I agree. I think we have, do you feel I value your thoughts and opinions in our relationship?
Yep, she may make a little sly comment about them, but she does value them.
I mean, in a relationship, it's a relationship. It's relation together. We're
Relate.
together. We're relatable.
We relate.
And so I do value his opinion. Do I always agree with him? No.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
I got my own
Man,
thoughts and my
listen.
own mind and my own opinions.
And that's okay.
And it's fine. And like he has his own thoughts and own opinions. It it don't always have to matter, but he has them.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And let me tell you something. Lighten up.
Yes.
Lighten up.
absolutely.
Stop being so constricting and all. And you can't do that. You got to rise above it and realize if the person is not attacking you, then you're safe. You're good.
Right.
And so you laugh and you have fun, even though they throw you under the bus and all that. At the end
I'm
of the
gonna come
day,
back and get you. I'm coming to get you. I'm not gonna leave you under the bus. I'm going to get you off from under that bus. I will move that bus and get you.
you're going to hit me first, and then you're going to come get me. How about you get under the bus with me when the bus is moving? But anyway, let's do one more question.
Let's do one more. Do we have any more online?
You got any?
Anything come up online?
I've
Nope.
got 3 big laughs.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
so what do you enjoy most about your hobby? That question should have been, what does your wife like least about your hobbies?
I love to go fishing. As it stands right now, being down here in Florida, it is good and warm. I average going fishing once or twice a week after I get off work. But my wife doesn't get off work at least for an hour after I get off work. So I have
And then
some
I got a
time.
45-minute
A
commute.
45-minute
so
commute.
he's got like 2 hours
Yeah,
almost.
so I got some time. I got some time to enjoy fishing. Now, my wife's hobby. What you
They
want?
didn't, and we didn't ask about my hobbies.
Yes,
We
it was.
asked about
It
your
wasn't just.
hobbies.
My wife likes to watch TV.
Yeah,
That's her means whereby she de-escalates
Yes.
and she comes down. I can't. I
have a
can't
very
do it.
stressful work, which he has a very stressful work day too. But my work day is just so mentally exhausting. When I get home, I don't want to do anything that requires me to think. Even when I cook, I'm like on autopilot. I come in, I cook,
that
get out of my
explains some
work
stuff.
clothes, and I sit down. Because I don't want to think about it.
I'm like, didn't you miss something there? Okay, all right.
So I don't. To me, watching television, it's mindless, and a mindless activity for me. So
Okay.
that's my thing.
Yeah.
So I don't let him get in the way of my fishing, my television, and I don't get in the way. He don't let me get in the way of his fishing, and I'm not trying to.
Yeah,
Neither of
but
us are
see,
trying to.
I'll be honest. There was a time years ago that I didn't manage that well. I didn't. It was bad.
And so what does that look like in a relationship where the spouse, one or the other in the couple has, or spouse or significant other or partner, whatever, that person has a hobby like fishing, which can be very time consuming, but the other person doesn't have a hobby. And so how do you manage that? How does that not get in the way of the relationship?
You have to make it work. You have to have conversation. You have to be sensitive to the other individual who may not have a hobby and say, hey, this is what I like to do. You're always welcome to come. But if not, I mean, I need that latitude, that allowance to break for some me time. That's important.
I feel like fishing is his hobby. It's not mine.
It's not.
So.
It's not. And she may not think of TV as her hobby, but that's her. That's where she will spend more time than another spot when it comes to relaxing and de-escalating. Right. So, the allowances has to be for that. It is erroneous to think that because we're married and because we're one, our hobbies ought to be one. That's a nice two. As a matter of fact, that's beyond a nice to. That's a luxury. Most times, that's not the case.
No. It doesn't necessarily mean that the hobbies are the same. It's just that there are things that we do enjoy doing together. There are things that we both like to do together. Doesn't constitute to make it a hobby. They're just things that we like to do together. And there are things that we do separate and apart from each other. And, I know the popular thought is that me and Nolan never go anywhere without each other. But that absolutely is not true. We do go places without each other because for the most part, if I'm shopping, Nolan may not be with me. And I probably get more damage done when Nolan is not with me.
Confession is good for the soul. She just said, damn it. I
had to shop under constrainment when Nolan was with me.
We won't even go there.
So, if you have any other questions or
Please.
anything that you can think about, after we're done today, feel free, go out, send us a comment, come out to the Reg, the Relationship Enrichment Group, and leave us a comment, send us an email. You can call and leave a message, and we'll get back to you and answer your questions. Our answers to your questions are not professional responses; they are experience.
Yeah, we are not professionals.
Exactly.
This is licensed.
Right. This is actually just what has worked for us in our relationship and what may not have worked for us in the past, because we all know that we've had lives before now, and so. We invite you to, share with us if you have comments or questions or what have you, and join us anytime when we're online or when we're when we've posted a video. Leave comments to us and let us know what your thoughts are. What, we can talk. If you have topics you want us to talk about, that was a suggestion. Pick a topic and kind of stick to that topic. If there's a certain topic that you want us to talk about, let us know. And, hopefully Nolan will have his technical stuff together and we can get online and we can do it for you.
Well, here's the thing. We're posting stuff. We try to post stuff with the Reg 4 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we try to put something special out on Saturdays. So there's always an opportunity to look for us and catch what we might see. And to her point, please, put some comments out there. Give us some feedback. If you have questions, again, you can email the Reg, THEREG, at nolangwhite.org. Send us an email, send us a comment, and we will get back with you.
Okay.
But until next time, you have a great and wonderful relationship.
Bye.
Bye.